I have with me Mr. Aneesh Dhawan. Mr. Dhawan, welcome to Elets Technomedia.
Thank you.
So what do you think, what is the use of information and communication technology in the present day of functioning of both public and private sector?
See, clearly it has got a large role to play. With the new government coming in and with the new initiatives coming in, the most important thing is how fast can we take any initiative, right, to the citizen. How fast? That is the first function. The traditional issues which have been are the fact that we announce an initiative and by the time a end user gets to see that initiative, right, it has already lost its charm, right? A lot of water has flown by the time, and most of the projects, if you see, are in that state. They have been running on for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, and still have not reached the point of completion. And it is very important that when you take such initiatives, first of all you decide how is IT going to help you make that happen much faster than it would have in a traditional fashion. That is the first point. So IT is not just about computing devices. IT is now about an enabler, right, for good governance. Now it is a tool, right, which is to be used. Now the second function is how sharp is this tool, right? So when we talk about cloud computing, the basic for cloud computing is virtualization, right? That is how cloud computing involves. So virtualization as a technology can help you deliver infrastructure which would otherwise, if you count the tendering time, the estimation time, and then you create tender, then you flow tender, then you give an order, then the delivery happens, it runs into months. I can deliver that entire infrastructure in matter of minutes. So I can simply crunch the time drastically, right, as an enabler. Once you've decided IT as an enabler, you know the role of IT. Now, from the time of point of conception to the point of delivery, I can simply crunch that multifold, right? So what would have taken months to get delivered, I can deliver it in matter of minutes and hours. That is the first point. The second point is the cost. What happens is there are cost overlays which happen, and once you decide an initiative, it goes across and you run into budget exceeding every time because the estimation was not right. So there are two aspects here. The first one is that what is the cost associated with the project. So you decide a load for yourself कि इतने users होंगे and इतने users होने के बाद this is the estimated load that will come on my application, and this application would need then this much hardware. Now what has been traditionally happening is that estimation itself, because it is a prediction into the future, goes wrong many a times. When you adopt this technology, your cost of experimenting is not much because you have to spin only virtual servers. So what you can do is, right, suppose you have, and what to avoid any kind of cost overruns earlier, the traditional approach has been that if you need X amount of hardware, let me double it or make it 3 times depending on the amount of uncertainty I have in mind. So as a result, most of the time my hardware remains underutilized. So I end up spending more as well. And it is not about buying more, because you power them, you run them, there is a lot of operational expenditure you keep on doing on powering and cooling it. But when you adopt this technology, right, you can simply have a brief, obviously you have to look at history and you have to look at the estimation that you have, but you don't need to be worried. Because even if you have oversized or undersized for the time being, this technology will immediately adapt to itself. Which means, suppose you have two situations, right? Suppose you have oversized, right, for the environment, which means that your load is much lesser than what you had estimated. So the same infrastructure can be used for delivering other services because it is a shared infrastructure.
So we can say this summit of that has been organized by Elets Technomedia is a right step in the right direction.
It is very important, right? And it is very important that you educate. If you saw what I said there, one of the concerns which even the last speaker, right, I would not want to name him, he brought out was the education part. People are not aware. Because they are not aware, they are not able to utilize this as a technology. It is very important that you have done this session and you have given at least a fair level of knowledge or awareness to people, the next steps would be to see how much is that knowledge and go deeper into this technology, enabling people, because till the time you know, right, what you can do with the technology, right, you will not do anything. Just reading it, hearing it from a speaker doesn't work. So you've got to enable people, and you've got to enable them in 3 lines. One is cloud computing, right, so that they can define their environment in a software so that they can provision in minutes, right? So that is also called software defined data center. That is the first part. The second portion is whether they build their own cloud or they use cloud which is delivered by DIT, Meghraj or NIC or anybody else, right? How to work in that environment. And the third most important is they should be intelligent and aware enough to understand that they can consume this technology using their end user devices, which could be a simple smartphone as well. And that they can do all this, then they will demand from their organizations that please do this for us. And once they demand this from their organization, there is a change which will happen.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.